Okay, did you know that in recent years, traditional perimeter-based security has failed in over 80% of major data breaches? Seriously, that old moat and castle defense, it just doesn't hold up anymore. So let's dive right into this explainer and demystify the transition from legacy cybersecurity to a modern zero-trust architecture. It's a massive paradigm shift that organizations all over the globe are going through right now, and for very good reason. The old ways of securing our data simply aren't working. Today, we're going to break down exactly why that is and, more importantly, how we actually fix it.
And don't worry about getting bogged down in jargon. We're breaking this whole thing down into 5 clear chapters. The end of the perimeter, enter zero trust, CISA's 5 pillars, mastering microsegmentation, and finally, a 7-step roadmap. We'll look at why the old model is broken, define the core philosophy, check out the official frameworks, unpack the technical engines, and leave you with a highly intuitive, practical implementation guide.
So let's kick things off by painting a picture of the old world of cybersecurity. Chapter 1, the end of the perimeter, or as I like to call it, the broken moat.
For decades, enterprise security was essentially like building a giant digital castle. We focused heavily on securing a perimeter based on geographic proximity. You put up these massive firewalls, and the logic made sense at the time. If you were inside the building or inside the network, well, you were trusted. But now, in an era of cloud-native apps and remote work, we really have to ask if that old moat is actually protecting anything at all. Is your digital front door actually just a broken window?
Because here's the core problem. Perimeters are pretty much meaningless in a cloud-centric environment. As the RSI security guidelines point out, if an attacker bypasses that front door, they have absolute free rein to move laterally. Imagine a hacker breaking into, say, a smart thermostat in your lobby, and then using that implicitly trusted internal connection to hop directly into your most sensitive corporate data vault. Because the system implicitly trusts whoever is inside, an attacker can just jump from a compromised, low-level device straight over to your critical assets. Crazy, right?
All right, let's pivot to the solution and see how a completely new philosophy changes the game. Chapter 2, enter zero trust, and the concept of assume breach.
So instead of digging a moat outside your castle, zero trust is all about assuming a breach has already happened and safeguarding every single individual resource inside. You literally operate under the assumption that the attacker is already sitting on your corporate network. And because of that, you grant zero implicit trust to any user, device, or service just based on their location. Every single access request has to be continuously validated. No exceptions.
Now, to turn this philosophy into actual practice, we look to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. Chapter 3, CISA's 5 pillars.
The really crucial point here is that CISA breaks zero trust down into these 5 digestible pillars that organizations have to continuously improve. Because let's face it, you can't just buy zero trust off a shelf. You have to mature your security posture across your identity management, making sure you know exactly who is logging in. Then you look at the specific devices connecting to you, verifying their health. Next, you secure your broader networks. From there, you lock down your specific application workloads. And finally, you protect the ultimate target, the data itself.
And each of those pillars advances through 4 maturity stages, moving from manual, siloed controls, all the way up to fully automated dynamic access. According to the CISA Zero Trust Maturity Model 2.0, you start at traditional, using basic passwords and static defenses. But as you progress up to optimal, you're actually using machine learning algorithms to continuously validate user behavior in real time, dynamically assigning access based on highly contextual triggers.
Now, what's really fascinating about this next section is the technical engine that actually makes zero trust possible. Chapter 4, mastering microsegmentation.
Think of microsegmentation like putting heavy bank vault doors on every single room inside your digital house. If someone breaks into the hallway, they still can't get into the bedroom or the office, but getting there, it's tough. A staggering 70% of agent-based microsegmentation projects just stall out due to deployment complexity. 70%. That really highlights the friction of implementing the wrong approach. Companies spend months trying to install software agents on every single endpoint, only to realize that a massive chunk of their hardware, like IoT sensors, medical equipment, or industrial controllers, literally cannot run third-party software agents.
This is exactly why identity-based and agentless approaches are superior. They don't require you to install software on every single device, which means they work beautifully for IoT and medical equipment.
Instead of relying on an agentless approach uses your existing network infrastructure, like your switches and routers, to enforce policies. And by using identity-based contextual attributes, like what a device actually is or what a user's role is, deployments can be up to 3 times faster than legacy agent-based methods. That's a huge win.
To implement this effectively, the National Institute of Standards and Technology provides some really authoritative guidance, recommending a multi-tier policy framework. When you're dealing with cloud-native applications that span multiple physical locations, NIST highlights that just relying on network addresses, it's just not enough anymore. To pull this off, you absolutely must augment static network tier policies with dynamic identity tier policies to truly realize identity-based segmentation. Network tier policies rely on IP addresses, which, let's be honest, are a total nightmare to maintain because workloads in the cloud are constantly migrating and changing IPs. Identity tier policies, on the other hand, are tied to the cryptographically verified identity of the service itself. This allows you to say, application A is allowed to communicate with application B, but only to perform this one specific action, completely independent of where those applications are currently hosted. It's a real game changer.
Okay, let's bring it all down to earth with a practical, step-by-step roadmap for actually migrating your enterprise. Chapter 5, the 7-Step Roadmap. Following the RSI security guidelines, these 7 steps take you all the way from gathering foundational data to actively deploying and monitoring your new architecture. You can essentially group these into 3 major phases: total visibility, strategic formulation, and monitored expansion. Let's look at how this flows in practice.
So, the first 3 steps are all about total transparency. You simply cannot protect an ecosystem if you don't know exactly who and what is inside it. Honestly, you might be surprised by how much shadow IT or forgotten hardware is lingering on your networks right now. You have to catalog every single user account, every connected piece of hardware and IoT device, and literally map out exactly how your data currently flows during daily operations. Without this baseline data, any security policy you write is basically just built on guesswork.
Next up, you select a low-stakes candidate to test out your rules. You're essentially drafting the policy rationale and producing the actual executable solution. Pro tip, you definitely don't want to test your very first zero-trust deployment on your most mission-critical database. Pick an application used by a small subset of users. Define exactly what credentials are required to access it, and then transform those abstract rules into technical deployments.
Finally, you deploy the solution, monitor it intensely for misconfigurations, and once it's completely stable, you expand the framework to the next set of candidates. Now, when you first turn this on, there will be hiccups. The system might block legitimate traffic or let too much through, but by heavily logging and monitoring a pilot program, you tune the engine. Once it's running smoothly, you just cycle back and apply this to the next, higher stakes process until the entire enterprise is covered.
As you look at your own infrastructure today, I want to leave you with this final thought to consider about your true level of safety. The walls of the digital castle have fallen. The network perimeter is totally a thing of the past. So, in a world without perimeters, who are you implicitly trusting right now? If you don't have a definitive answer for every single device and user, well, it's probably time to start your transition to zero trust. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning your infrastructure.